What is good, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. I am joined with another full panel. I love this. Today we've got four Florida boys, or at least Florida residents. Some of us from the No DQ, some of us know each other in real life. And by the end of Backlash, we will all know each other in real life. So I believe everybody here is going to Backlash. So that's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. But let's go around the panel here and introduce ourselves. I am your host, Papa Gino Nashef, and we're going to be looking into the positives today. But before we get to that, Mathew is joining us. Mathew, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited for Mania, the longest week of wrestling. Not just WWE, but everybody's doing something. We got the Hall of Fame. We got AEW actually in an hour. GCW's doing their stuff, Bloodsport, NXT. It's a crazy night, but it's a big night and a big week. And, I'm excited for Mania. It had a rough start, but it's really starting to fill out. And whether you are going to admit it or not, it's the talk of the wrestling world, and I want to see how things play out, especially one match in particular.
Awesome, and we will get to that. I appreciate you saving it and not burying the lead. Very well done. Dave is with us. Dave, how you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me, Gino. And the Florida chapter is growing by leaps and bounds now that we have Chris with us. So we'll make this a good chat. Have some good news after last week where we had our rating talk. Now tonight we're going to talk about the positives.
Absolutely. Now, we had something else planned for tonight, but we can save that for down the road. I think it actually would be a great post-WrestleMania discussion, and I will give you a preview. It is going to be about what is more beneficial to a wrestling company, appeasing the live fans or appeasing the people watching on television. And I can think of no better time to do that than right after WrestleMania, because you can rest assured that they will be trying to do both, and we will figure out whether they succeed or not. C-Rod is with us. C-Rod, how are you doing today?
Doing well, man. I am glad to be back after that very long episode that I was on. Happy to talk wrestling. Like Matt said, it's WrestleMania week. It's WrestleMania season. It's finally arrived. We have not loved the build. We've talked about it. We have been critical of TKO, but at the end of the day, I think this might end up being a more entertaining weekend that it, more than it deserves to be with everything that's been going leading up to it, purely because of the talent that's on this card. And, I can't wait to talk about those matches and the cards that we're excited to see. But I truly do think that the talent can take this WrestleMania further than anybody expected.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, C-Rod. We're going to get into all of that, guys. And thank you, whether you're watching during the premiere or on demand after it fully airs. I very much appreciate you guys being here. Do not forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, go subscribe to the Major Push Wrestling channel that is on its own dedicated server. We will get all those plugs later, and check the description if you're impatient for that. Now, C-Rod mentioned something. I just want to touch upon that before we go in. It seems like for the last year, maybe year and a half, the big talking points going into the WWE premium live events is that the build isn't good. I mean, heck, we had a 1 week build for Royal Rumble, right? But on a consistent basis, whether the build is good or not, it seems like they're delivering a quality, entertaining show regardless. So hopefully WWE can continue to deliver. It's no longer we have to get you on board to pay $50, $60, $70 for a pay-per-view. Ever since the WWE Network, it's now you get it for a set up price, whether it's through your cable provider, whether it's through you just pay for an app, or you do the smart thing and buy the $3 a month VPN and just watch it through Netflix. either way, the thought process going into how you get people and eyes on your product is a little different. But speaking of eyes on product, speaking of ways, like essentially excitement levels going into this, wanting to watch it, it is WrestleMania. People are going to be watching. Like, there are some people who only watch WrestleMania and don't watch anything else throughout the rest of the year. All the more reason why those pre-match promos are so important, but they kind of did away with them if you had Peacock and commercials on Peacock. Like, you didn't get to see those things. And to me, that enhances the match overall. Like, even if you watch every week like we do, it's still good to have this is what you need to know going into the match. It's kind of like when you're watching a television show and they hit you with the previously on, right? You know what's going on, but sometimes they'll bring up a conversation that you might have forgot. And then it's like, okay, now it's on the forefront of my mind. Oh, and then what happens in the episode pays that off even better. So we'll see what they end up doing. This is the first ESPN WrestleMania, and the first hour of both nights are going to be on ESPN for free, but like ESPN isn't a free channel, so whatever. But you could go to the bar, you could go to a restaurant, ESPN on those TVs. I think they changed one of the nights to ESPN2. So I'm on to you, ESPN. Show me confidence in your product. Otherwise, why should we have confidence? But we are going to be talking about the positives going into this. The whole point of wanting to have this show is to talk about the good things that we like. And sometimes we've been skewing more negative, rightfully so, because there are things that are frustrating us and we're human beings. But today I want to focus on the good, the great, and the best going into WrestleMania. This weekend, we are less than 4 days away. Guys, by the time this airs, we'll be 2 sleeps away from WrestleMania. And I look forward to potentially maybe getting some of you guys to come to the watch party this weekend. We'll talk about that off camera. So with that long-winded intro out of the way, guys, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, we've got headlining matches. They've split it up. One night has more wrestling matches on it than the other night. It feels, my OCD's kind of like, why? We'll see if they add another match on SmackDown or not. But I want to know what you're most excited for WrestleMania, either night. Maybe a couple of things you're most excited for. And then at the end, we will go give our, what are we most excited? Which night do we think is going to be better? Which night are we more looking forward to? So I'm going to start right off with C-Rod. C-Rod, we know you've got your favorites in the wrestling business and in the WWE. And I'm interested to see kind of where your head is at. What is getting you out of bed essentially for WrestleMania weekend? Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing is I do fully believe that this is a prove it WrestleMania. I think it is now time for the wrestlers to, with their in-ring performance, carry this WrestleMania, because they have been let down by creative and by TKO. But like I said, there's too many stars on this roster for it to not be an entertaining night. And I think they just have to bail out the booking. Ton of talent. I am absolutely most excited for what everybody is most excited for, and that is the true main event. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I almost bought tickets on 316 day on the 31% off strictly to see Oba and Brock. I have loved every single promo they've done. Every time either of their, their entrances hit, their music hit, it's just so electric. It feels like this match should be the main event. I am a little bit worried that it is going to put the crowd through the roof, and then there might be a lull for the 3 singles matches leading up to the championship, Punk and Roman. But staying positive, this is pure violence. These guys are both monsters. It is the future versus probably another legend that's going to retire, just like Cena, just like AJ, Goldberg. Brock is probably next, like rumors have said it at SummerSlam. So I really truly hope that Brock wins. I would love to see Brock and Oba keep this going. If Oba gets the rub and he goes over, I would be happy with that too. As far as my number 2 and 3, I'm going to stick to my mark. I'm going to stick to what I love. Stephanie and Liv. I have said this before. I don't think it's been on camera, but in our group chats, I think Stephanie working with Liv has elevated her very fast. I did talk a little bit about how I thought Stephanie's run was a little bit stale, kind of like Tiffany Stratton's, but you can see week to week that Liv is bringing out the best in Stephanie, and Stephanie is a great wrestler. So I hope Liv wins. It will be interesting to see what they do with this whole new music video that's come out. I hope she doesn't sing it. We'll see if it's her new intro music. But I hope my girl takes home the gold, and I'm excited for that match. And then lastly, it's going to be Seth and Gunther. I know that this was kind of just made up out of thin air because of all the injuries. Rollins, Braun, Bronson, Rey Mysterio. It was a way for them to get 2 of their best wrestlers on the card, and I just think it's going to be a wrestling classic. There doesn't have to be a build. They're both BA guys, and Seth is my guy. Gunther's one of the best in the business. I think they're going to deliver in ring. I'm excited to see a great wrestling match. So that's my top 3, and I'll kick it over to whoever's next.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, C-Rod. So looking at the cards so far, we have the Obafemi and Lesnar match, which will be on that first free hour of ESPN. I say free, but that'll be on ESPN proper. And that's going to open the night, because we know Brock doesn't want to stay to the end of the night, wants to leave early, whatever. So that will be the first match on night 2. Your other 2 exciting things are on night 1. So I wonder, but that's on ESPN. The first hour of that is on ESPN 2. So I wonder if that plays any role into which night you're more excited for. So everybody stay tuned for C-Rod's answer to that. Now I'm going to throw it over to Dave. Dave, I'm looking at the card right now, both nights. Again, we're not here to talk about the negative stuff and maybe who should be champion going in and what the matches we wish we had. What we have is what we have. What are 2 or 3 things that you're most looking forward to or are most excited about with WrestleMania?
Well, the first thing I'll say is after the low with maybe CM Punk and Roman, the build for the undercard has been awesome for this. And that's what's going to make the WrestleMania, and like Chris said, to prove it, WrestleMania. The undercard is a lot of excitement, I think. My number 1 match, obviously, and it's the same as Chris's, is Oba. And I got even more excited. And I missed part of the promo the other night with Oba. But when I went back and watched it this afternoon, that made me even more excited for the match, because that man can talk on the mic. They finally gave him a shot with a major promo, and it was awesome. I really, it's not maybe up there with the tops ever, but for him, that was awesome. It did give me some goosebumps, because I just thought he brought it. He brought it well. And definitely I'm very, very excited for that match. The next one is, and it wouldn't have been in the beginning when we were shocked by the appearance of Pat McAfee. I'm intrigued about what's going to happen. And I talked about it on our prediction show on No DQ on Tuesday night. I really think there's going to be a shock at the end of that. And my shock was obviously The Rock, but because I think they're going to end night 1 with a bang. They want to end it with a bang to go into that night 2 and start it off really good. You have an ending like that, and then go into Oba and Brock leading off night 2 is going to be awesome. And my third one, it may shock you guys, but I'm really excited about the Intercontinental ladder match.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what Javon and Penta and Dragon Lee, these guys are. I just hope to God Ray doesn't get hurt, because he's getting to the age where I don't know if he should be in those matches, but I hope he doesn't take he takes it a little bit easy and lets the young kids fly, because and I'm torn by that match, because um as much as I love Penta, I love Javon, and I think Javon has been something special. I mean, I still can't believe he's in his early 20s and he's getting this push. The future is bright with WWE because they're starting to push the youngsters. We all thought it was going to be Braun. Braun got hurt, and all of a sudden, then you see Oba come up, Javon come up, and I'm really, really excited about that match. That is, I think that's going to be an awesome undercard match. Those are my three right now.
Awesome. And I'm sure that there's obviously way more to be excited about. Like, it's WrestleMania. Like, every match we could all defend every single match on the card. I mean, I'm sure we have some people we wish were on the card that aren't on the card, some maybe different changes and things. But for what we have, that match has the potential to be steal the show, however you want to put it, be the match of the night or the match of the weekend. I don't think it's going to be Rusev just because of how strong he looked on Monday. And I really do hope Ray stays safe. But ever since the CM Punk stuff, the doctors at WWE are very cautious with clearing people and making sure that they're 100% before they do stuff. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, JD McDonough is one of the toughest guys pound for pound. Javon Evans is definitely jumping off something high, but that's what we thought at Elimination Chamber. And, so I do hope he's going to be safe, but I do want to see him flying around, so we'll see what happens. And like you said, with the Pat McAfee stuff, like, people want to hate on it. I'm not one of those people. I love it, and I understand why they're doing it, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So thank you very much, you guys. I'm going to throw it over to Mathew, and I'm trying to see. It looks like two of the matches that you're looking forward to as well, Dave, are going to be on one night and then one on the other. So we'll see if that's any indication of which night you're more looking forward to. But we'll go to Mathew. Mathew, what are you thinking about this weekend? We have 2 nights of WrestleMania, 13 matches, lot to like. And that's one of the best things about being a wrestling fan when you're watching the product, or whether you're there live. Like, if you're at a sporting event and your team's getting their butts kicked, right, you're probably not going to have a good time the rest of the time it's going on. But with wrestling, you get new people to cheer for every 30 minutes or so, new people to boo. You have the opportunity to, if you're not enjoying something, to enjoy something else. And that's great. So what are you looking forward to? 2 or 3 things that you're looking forward to for WrestleMania weekend.
Well, like Chris, like Dave, the true main event, the hopefully the crowning of Obafemi. This is a 1 in a million chance to put this guy over, and they need to do it. They need to have him beat Brock. They don't need to pull he came so close but looked strong in defeat. No. Everybody complains that Triple H doesn't put people over. Not only is this a chance to put Oba over and make him the new monster for the future, this could be a weekend where we see Trick Williams and Javon also go over, which would also break a lot of narratives about, WWE and Triple H being against certain colors as well. But, this, I've watched Oba live about 8 times at NXT house shows that came here to Melbourne. Every time he just aura farmed from the strut to the chants to everything. And now we're getting 45,000 people that are going to chant his name, which I kind of wish the match was on later so that the stadium will be full when he comes out. But still, we're still going to have 40,000 people chanting and doing that strut. And this is a chance to make the new biggest star in the history of WWE. Braun Breaker's great, but I think at this point, Oba is now the new ceiling that people have to break. My other things are 2 matches that I'm both looking forward to, and they both feature two of my favorite heels, and they both happen to be on the same night. Gunther and Drew are going to tear the house down. Drew, I don't see winning, but he's going to make Jacob Fatu look like $1 million. And Drew is great at what he does. I wish he won more. I wish he had a longer title reign, but Drew is going to give Jacob that push he needs while Drew goes off the film Highlander. And then Seth and Gunther's going to be a hell of a match. And we kind of know where this is leading. Gunther's going to win clean. I think Braun's going to show up and pick the bones. And Gunther's going to demand he wants the beast at SummerSlam. And then the last thing I'm looking forward to, again, Chris is going to love this, Stephanie and Liv. Again, I saw Stephanie live several times at NXT. She is everything that you believe. I don't understand why people say, oh, she's not that good.
Gino.
She is absolutely gorgeous, and the peach is real. The peach is real. But
nobody's talking that's not the case, myself included. But yeah, continue.
He said 5 moves of doom.
But
3.
Yeah,
3.
I see Liv winning this. Stephanie needs to do something else. Now that there's more talent in AAA, I could see her going to AAA, especially now that they signed what's her name, La Catalina, who she's actually had previous history with. There could be a feud there. And Liv will probably start feuding with Raquel and Roxanne as the Judgment Day implodes. But it's going to be a good night for a lot of heels, I think, and a few baby faces as well. But I think the big thing is starting to elevate this younger talent. I don't see Javon, Trick, and Oba all winning, but at least 2 of the 3 need to win, and they need to win big.
Thank you very much for that. And, you definitely touched upon another 2 things on one night, 1 on the other, right? So far, it hasn't been 3 on 1 card. And I think WWE is doing this on purpose because they want us to show up for both nights, right? And they know we're going to show up for both nights. So they really want the casual or the people who are on the fence or the competitive sports fan or whatever who's going to be watching the first hour on ESPN. Now, there's so much to dig into here with like who we think is going to win and what we would prefer and all that stuff. Obviously, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I was hoping that Brock was going to get the better of Oba at least once, because now it's like, are they going to pull the trigger with Oba, or are they going to potentially have, because Brock is ESPN's guy. Like, remember, they brought Brock back at SummerSlam to then squash Cena at WrestlePalooza, and I like that name is just, they better do something better for that next year. But as far as that goes, like sometimes the writing is on the wall and things are as they appear. And just like with the AJ Styles, everybody was like, no, he's not actually going to retire against Gunther. Like this is the beginning of the year, retired. And I was like, all these signs, the Shinsuke tweet that was deleted and all of this stuff, like squeezing in matches with certain people, all that stuff. Sometimes things are as they appear. And I think that wrestling history would dictate that. I mean, it's obvious Brock is going to win, but maybe the smart choice is to have Oba look completely strong throughout the build and then look dominant in his win. I would love to see him kick out of a few F5s and then eventually win, right? Just because I think that would make him look stronger than just squashing Brock. Like being able to take somebody's move and kicking out is arguably more impactful than just squashing somebody. And I'll get to you in a second, Dave, here. Now, as far as what I'm really looking forward to going into there, do I think The Rock is going to show up? Maybe. Do I think that this Pat McAfee thing is good enough to get people to want to watch? I do. And, there's all those different ways we could fantasy book it, but taking the card as it is, I'm a big Trick Williams fan. You mentioned that Trick, Oba, and Javon, 2 of those 3 should be winning. and I could see potentially all three of them winning. The only person I'm like for sure a lock on is Trick Williams. It would be the height of stupidity for WWE to not pull the trigger on Trick. Right, I did that on purpose, even though it felt like an accident. That entrance is going to be fantastic, and it's going to be potentially dark out, hopefully by then, and just you want to talk about aura farming? Like, let's talk about it. You know what I'm doing? Trick Williams just puts a smile on my face. I'm not really sure. And nobody's talking about their hate for Little Yachty being involved with this. Pat McAfee has way more of a reason to be involved with anything in WWE than Little Yachty does. I do like that he's kind of pseudo Booker T-ing it with what? I wish he would say something else in his high-pitched voice other than what?
His voice is so high-pitched.
Right. But that's part of his appeal in the rap game and in his music is his high-pitched voice. But, you know, I don't think Trick Williams really needs him, but it's good to see somebody so young, with so much of a future, already crossing streams with mainstream people, whether his music is everybody's cup of tea or not, doesn't matter. You can't argue that Lil Yachty has influence in the community and in the world outside of professional wrestling. So I really notice he's not on the one sheet like Pat is, right? So all of these types of things, and it's going to be so exciting. For me, I just love the crossover with the celebrities. And as a counselor, I counsel kids. People know who I Show Speed is. People know who Brock Lesnar is. People know Pat McAfee. People know Logan Paul. They know Little Yachty. So Lil Yachty, excuse me. I keep saying little. But I think that match, despite its maybe lack of star power and things, is also something to really look forward to. There's just so much for everybody. And I noticed that nobody's kind of talking about the Punk and Reigns main event, which is insane to think of after like the 3 weeks after Royal Rumble, like to think that anybody would be excited at all for anything else over this. Insane. But WWE proving their ability to build their hype and excitement levels for these things. Like they are doing stuff that are making us more excited for other stuff other than what you could argue is the biggest main event that they can do. Now, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, true main event. And I'm going to segue this back to Dave's question or thought because I presume it was about this match. Now, everybody's saying that this is the true main event. But if it was on as the main event, people would be like, but the World Championship should be the main event. But the WWE Championship should be the main event. And I tend to agree that unless you've got something like Rock Hogan, unless you've got something like Taker Shawn career versus streak, unless you've got something like big non-title, like really it should the championship, you build up your brand by having the championship close the show. So Dave, I don't know if you remember or not what you were going to say regarding the Obafemi and Lesnar stuff, but the floor is yours.
Well, thanks, Gino, and you made great points about Trick. If it is dark out with the white robe and the pepper steppers and all that stuff, that is another person that is getting pushed to the moon. But regarding Oba, and this is for your boy John, I hope he wins and gets Brock for the squash he did on Cena at WrestlePalooza, because that was the worst match I saw in the Cena retirement tour. I couldn't believe they did that. I thought for sure they'd have Cena get Brock back for the 20 or how many suplexes he gave him in that SummerSlam match years before. But the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys saw it, but before we came on, I saw that Cody got his belt back too. He went to Pat McAfee's show and got his belt back today.
Yes, he did. I saw an interview that he was alluding to that. And then when I was on Instagram on my break at work today, I saw Pat McAfee's clip. Like he's on the show. He's talking about like his set is destroyed type of thing. Like Cody came in, took his belt, smashed this picture of him and Randy Orton where Pat's holding the title instead of Randy, which is POing a lot of people, which means it's working, because in wrestling, you can be entertained and upset. That's the beauty of it. And same thing in movies, same thing in television. I mentioned on the review like a week or two ago, like sometimes, things don't go the way you want them to go. And one of the greatest TV shows of all time, you could argue the greatest TV show of all time, consistently delivered stuff that fans did not want to see, and that is Game of Thrones. So it's like, you like this guy? There goes his head. Oh, you want this person to be king or queen? Nope, we're going to put them in a dungeon for the rest of the show. Like all these types of things. But that was he's like, we got the footage. Like one of our guys, D-Zone or whatever they call him, like Pat's got like 50 guys that work for his show. And good, like if I was in his shoes, I'd be bringing all my boys in there, get them paid, all those types of things. But that was funny. And, Pat, when he was talking about this, like replaying the footage of Cody breaking in, well, he didn't really break in, but he definitely broke some stuff when he got there, stole his laptop, smashed his laptop on the floor. I mean, it's like, it's my only laptop. Obviously, I'm sure that was planned, because Pat had a stack of papers like literally this tall on his desk. And if I'm there to trash stuff, guess what I'm doing? I am knocking that whole thing of paper. Screw the laptop. This paper is going to be harder to pick up. But Pat called it Randy's championship, right? Now, did he slip of the tongue? He knows the outcome, blah, blah, blah. No, I genuinely think that Pat is believing the gimmick, and he believes that that's Randy's championship to lose on WrestleMania. And whether or not we get some other things, but then it's just going to be rinse and repeat. Like every year, Cody always has these interference type of things. And every year in WrestleMania season, Cody, at a certain point, I'd like to see, something happen. Obviously, Pat's going to get involved. I really hope that this starts to turn towards I'm tired of doing things the right way type of Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you only have one golden boy. There's nobody else in the company, not even CM Punk, because he's too controversial. Roman Reigns isn't there enough. Cody Rhodes really is the only guy they have that can do the talk shows, do all the media, shows up first, leaves last. So they're probably going to need somebody else to assume that position. But
that's
Randy
why they
Orton,
got keep building the young people. That's the exact reason. Because just like you and me and Mathew have been talking about it, we want to see Cody Lander. We want to see him explode, totally explode, and go crazy.
Right. And if we didn't think he could do that, if he hasn't shown signs in basically any one of his promos where he actually gets like emotion behind his voice, like you can see, like there's a heel in there begging to burst out, like Danhausen and the Danhausettes at the mystery box and elimination chamber. I really like, even the stuff that people that they either haven't been doing a good build for, like AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, like where the heck is AJ Lee been? I'm still excited for that match. And they just announced, because Becky Lynch, going all the way back to, I believe it was Evolution, when it was Nikki versus Becky. My mom and my girlfriend were watching that event with me, not by choice. I was watching on the TV, and if they wanted to be in the living room, guess what you're watching? They know who Nikki Bella is, and now they know who Becky Lynch is because of that. And then WrestlePalooza, now they know who AJ Lee is because of their association with their husbands. And now there's a reason for people who wouldn't be wrestling fans to want to know the outcome of that match. And if that wasn't enough for the ladies in the audience, they recently announced that my girlfriend's favorite human being on the planet, yes, even more than me, Joe Jonas, will be doing the national anthem for night 2. So you better believe that she's going to see that in some capacity. We're going to Vegas the next week. I'm sure she's going to DM him, ask him to stay a little bit later. Maybe he's got shows. We'll see what happens, but there's a lot to be excited for. And whether the build has been good or not, whether it makes sense that Gunther and Rollins are going against each other, whether it makes sense that, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, all these, and Rusev, like people that you could argue, I don't want to say don't deserve to be on the card, but you could argue that there are people that deserve to be on the card over some of these people. I still think they're going to deliver, right? I don't like that they spoiled Demon Balor, but they are trying to get people to want to buy in and to want to go see this. And you mentioned earlier that you were kind of hoping that the match would go on. I believe it was Mathew. The Oba and Brock match would go on later in the night, so it's not, so the arena's full. I promise you, they are doing this first because they want people to get in there and rush in there and get in there. The problem is when, like we know, when you go to a wrestling show, you tell yourself, I need to go get merch to start so that I can enjoy the show or, whatever, beat the lines or whatever. But nobody will be, if they hear that the match is starting, that the entrances are starting, they will get out of line to go see this. Yes, C-Rod.
Do you think that aside from that point of having Oba and Brock go first, do you think that they would be afraid that Oba and Brock would overshadow Punk and Roman, similar to, I don't know, like a Hogan and Rock, right? That was just a singles match. It wasn't for the title. Or even something like Hell in a Cell, where Mankind and Taker took the show over more than, Kane and Stone Cold. Do you think that they were afraid that Oba and Brock would have dominated Punk versus Roman?
Now, I see where you're coming from with that, but I would then challenge you with what's to say it doesn't overpower it anyway.
Fair.
Right? Who was the main event with Rock and Hogan? Who went on after them? Who was the main event?
It was Triple H.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot. The point I was trying to prove was that everybody knows where Rock and Hogan.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that
Rock
match,
and Hogan
I believe,
take over. Yeah,
went on right before the main event, and people didn't even have time to regain their vocal cords, lubricate it with some beer or soda or water or whatever. But I do think there is time. The problem is
Jericho, Triple H and Jericho.
Yes, and it was, even though it was a good match, there are some matches that deserve to go on last, and no matter what, Obafemi's gonna be a big star. He is wicked over with the crowd for sure. Let's call a spade a spade. Punk versus Reigns, it's way more star power there, and this is ending night 2. Do I believe that this is just gonna be a clean, fair one-on-one matchup the entirety of the time? I do not
be.
But I would argue you don't need any screwy stuff with these guys. Just let their hatred for them carry through. Yes, Mathew.
Well, just kind of bouncing off what Chris said, it's like last year, the biggest match of night 2 was Io, Bianca, and Rhea. Nothing topped that, and that opened the show. Again, we're talking positive. It's still crazy that right now Io and Asuka are not having a match because of the Bella twins. But, again, that match surpassed everything else. That match even surpassed Cody Cena, but that unfortunately had a lot of bad booking.
That had Travis Scott in that match. That's why
that doesn't happen this time around. But yeah, I very much see, Oba, look at us, the biggest match for us is Oba and Brock, and that's opening the show. So yeah, but yeah.
I do believe the only reason it's opening the show, 2 reasons. One, because they want people to see it and then buy or find a way to watch the rest of the pay-per-view. But also, we all know if Brock's not going to be in the main event, he doesn't want to stay. Every Monday, he comes out and he's the first one. He's a first segment, and then he goes home. Because there's no reason, and I don't want to get into negatives, but there's no reason he shouldn't have come out when Oba was doing his signing and try and do something, other than the fact that he was probably already in his hotel or on his flight or however the man travels back to wherever. So, but we are super excited for that because, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but we're super excited for that because it feels like a big fight. It's got that big fight feel that even an exhibition fight, Netflix does with some of the Paul brothers and, boxing matches and things like that. This is a big fight feel. And
the 2 meaty men slapping meat, as they used to say it in the older days.
Yeah. Big E still says that. But
Yeah.
with that level of excitement, there's also potential for disappointment.
No.
Because what if Brock squashes Oba, right? What if
No.
Gunther taps
No,
out to
please
Seth
not.
Rollins?
No.
What
There's
if
no world that Brock is gonna squash Oba. No.
No
What
way. That can't.
what if Jade makes Rhea tap out? What if
Uh.
Liv loses
Whoa,
to three
whoa.
moves of doom, right?
Whoa.
What if I Show Speed pins LA Knight or Jey Uso,
God.
right? Like there is the opportunity for disappointment there, but as I'm saying it, I still have a smile on my face because at the end of the day, it's still entertaining, right?
Unpredictable is, I think, the word you're looking for. Because if you can predict, if you guys can run your predictions right for a week straight on 3 different prediction shows and get them a majority of the cards right, that's never fun. The unpredictability is where the entertainment comes from.
And I absolutely respect that opinion. But as somebody who has money in the predictions league, I would very much enjoy all of my predictions coming true. Shout out to Noah Foster. He's usually on here. We do the predictions post-mortem videos where we break down the predictions results every Monday after premium live events and pay-per-views. So catch us this Monday. But I do hear, all kidding aside, the unpredictability of it is what makes us more enamored. Now, I think we can all agree that Liv should be winning against Stephanie Vaquer and probably will win since she's had the title and it's been super stale. And Liv just is getting a new music video, which is now new music. I doubt she'll sing it on the way down. It makes no sense. Plus, it was a lot of auto-tune in that, or production manipulation.
Hey,
So
no negatives, Gino.
there's no problem with good production value, as AEW will continue to find out when they as they try to increase their production value. But it should be pretty obvious that Trick Williams and Liv Morgan are going to win. And if they end up doing that, is it going to take my enjoyment away from it? No. But I do hear what you're saying, because CM Punk versus Finn Balor at Elimination Chamber, it meant nothing to me because I knew CM Punk was winning. There's no chance they're going to spoil the main event. At that time, I didn't think that Finn would even be on the WrestleMania card. I mean, technically he's not. It's Demon Balor. So, in wrestling kayfabe.
Now, Gino, if you want to turn that into a positive about that, we all knew Finn was losing, but that wasn't the story of the match. The story was the face turn coming at the end. That was really the story of that match. If you look at it that way, I'm trying to be a half full guy here, because that was what we wanted. We wanted to see the evolution of Finn coming back to the Finn we loved in the beginning.
And if I remember correctly, that happened after the match. So you could have given me a.
But you saw him not taking any. He didn't take any shortcuts. So if you notice, in the matches when he's been a heel, all of a sudden he was starting to play fair.
Sure. And I get that, but sometimes the post-match stuff is where and that's kind of how I feel about some of the matches on television. It's like, clearly they're setting up for an angle that we really need 3 commercial breaks in a 20-minute match before we end in a DQ or something like that. Like, get to the story. And I like storyline and characters and gimmicks more maybe than, the best technical wrestling. But everybody's got their own cup of tea. Again, that's what's great about being a wrestling fan. Now, I'm going to throw it around. You've had time to think about it. Obviously, opinions subject to change, but I want to know, if you could only watch one night of WrestleMania and never be able to see the other night, so you're having to choose one or the other. Of course, it's impossible to where you won't know the outcomes of the other night, so let's leave that out of it. But if you could only watch one night, take Saturday and Sunday out of it, because obviously Saturday nights are better just because you don't have to go to work the next day. I mean, if you do have to work on a Sunday, I'm sorry for you, but traditionally speaking, Sunday into Monday is a little bit more annoying than Saturday into Sunday. So take all that out of it. Card for card. WrestleMania Night 1's card or WrestleMania Night 2's card. You can only see one. Dave, what are you watching?
Oh, you put me first.
I
Okay.
did.
Well, this is a hard choice. It didn't matter to me because I'm going on vacation after that, so I don't have to work Monday. But you know, the angle with Pat McAfee intrigues me so much. But if it's gonna but I have my two favorites on night two, and I think I'm gonna stick with night two as my favorite only because of Oba and Brock. I gotta stick with night two as my favorite if I had to pick one.
All right. We have one for night two. Huge emphasis being on the Oba and Brock match or potential squash in 30 seconds. And then, I hope you enjoy the rest of the card. So we will see what the other guys have to say. Mathew.
Well,
you got one choice. Night one or night two. What are you watching?
As much as I want to say night one because it's got my boys Drew and Gunther, I got to go with night two. It's got Oba and Brock. It's got Javon. It's got Trick. We talked 3 of the futures of the business. Night two is about the future. And, you want to see those 3 names standing tall and have, when you check the results, their name is highlighted because they won. So I have to go with night two.
All right. Wonderful. That's 2 for night two, even though Mathew had his 2 positives on night one and his 3rd positive on night two. He still went night two. There's really no wrong answer here, folks. Don't forget to comment in the comment section whether you would rather see night one or night two in this situation. No, C-Rod, I didn't forget about you. You are unforgettable. And I'm curious to see, you could only watch one. As somebody who attended last year's WrestleMania both nights and Vegas, what do you think? You can only watch one. What are you watching?
I really had an answer until you said if you could only watch one night and not know what happens to the other night or anything like that. And I think that changed my answer, but I'm going to be a little bit more long-winded. I do truly think that night one will be the better overall watch. I think it's more balanced. Like Matt said, he mentioned Trick, he mentioned Javon, he mentioned a lot of these young guys. Night one has Logan Paul, it has the Usos, it has Knight, it has Fatu, has Drew, Liv. I can keep going. AJ, Becky, Hall of Famers, Flair, Rollins, Gunther, Cody, Orton. It's just so star-studded every match that I don't think there's going to be a lull. I think that the first match will be fun. It will be chaotic. It's a way to get people on the card. Fatu and Drew are going to put on a banger. Liv and Valkyrie are going to be great. AJ, Lee, and Becky, we've seen it. Whatever. What happens with the Bellas? Are they going to be injured? If they are injured, what's the change there?
I think
Rollins,
Asuka.
Gunther.
I think Asuka and Kyrie might take that tag team spot, honestly. But
it could. Yeah, we'd love to see them more than the Bellas. Just like Dave said, what's Pat McAfee going to do with Cody Orton? It's very intriguing. But if I had to pick one night, it's going to be Oba Brock night two. There's hands down, night two is going to have the higher peaks. I think there could be a lull with the Rhea, with Sammy, and Trick, with Demon and Dom. I'm just saying, I am looking forward to those matches and watching them. I hope Trick wins. I hope Demon wins. I hope Rhea wins. I hope they're good matches, but I feel like the lull will be there from Ober Brock. Then we're going to have a great ladder match. It's going to be an awesome spot fest. And then it's going to be like, okay, let's get to Punk Roman and see what happens. But if I had to pick one, it's night two, Ober Brock. Have to watch it. Must see TV.
And that's 3 moves of Stephanie Vicaire Doom, all selected night two. And, I might have been a little confusing with the way I worded it. Like you can find out the results and you can watch the, not the YouTube. You can't go seek anything out, but like if you're watching Raw and SmackDown, they'll give you the highlights of what happened. Like that's your only way to see visually what happened on the other night. Would that change anybody's opinion about what night they would want?
No.
And you guys are absolutely 100% correct. because that is where the money is. It's night 2, wanting to be able to see Brock Lesnar versus Oba, wanting to see that ladder match, wanting to see Trick Williams and all that stuff for sure. But I think that it being the second night, not necessarily being a Sunday, but it being the second night, they are going to do a lot on night 1 to make sure that you want to come back for seconds on night 2, especially with that ending of the main event. I want to watch Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton featuring Pat McAfee, or should I say Cody versus Pat McAfee featuring Randy Orton. And to me, if I truly had to pick one night, the outcomes matter to me more in night 2 than they do in night 1. So for me, if I could only pick one night, I think I'm leaning towards the awesomeness that's going to be, because again, you can't fast forward, you can't do any of this stuff. So if I want to guarantee that I'm going to enjoy every second of every wrestling match going on that night, I think night 1 might be it. The unsanctioned match between Drew and Jacob, it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be a banger.
That'd be awesome.
Gunther versus Seth, you could argue the 2 best wrestlers on the planet, depending on what style of wrestling you like. But Seth is your traditional technician, and Gunther's your old school ground and pound WWE 2K style. I'm going to make your head icon red with every move I do, targets your head, and then I'm going to choke you out, and it's going to be super easy. Very smart wrestling. Becky versus AJ going to be that tea that the kids talk about. It's going to be drama. They truly don't like each other, I have to believe. And then you've got people like Logan Paul, and what are they going to do with IShowSpeed, who, to his credit, is an incredible athlete, regardless of whether you have any respect for him because of how he became famous. He's also still 20, 21 years old, 22. I think he's going to be like the youngest person to ever participate in a WrestleMania. So like, except for the 10-year-old, yes, with Braun Strowman.
With Braun Strowman, yeah.
Very good. But yeah, man, I think from start to finish, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton with Pat McAfee hanging around is going to be like must see. Now, again, you guys are 100% right, mostly because there's no way to be wrong in an opinion, despite what some people might say on the No DQ review, like Evan and things like that, where they're like, no, some opinions are just wrong.
Which which I terribly disagreed with, by the way.
but like, and again, but then here we are saying his opinion doesn't count, right? So you kind of get into that quantum leap loop there. For me, you know, it just feels like start to finish each match, honestly, except I hate to say this, but the women's tag team match might be the weakest thing on night 2 or night 1.
Night 1, agreed.
Night 1, agreed. Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
At the end of the day, I mean, it would be nice to see Dominic and Demon Balor, but I just really need to know who wins because that really matters more for the story. Jade versus Rhea. I mean, I feel like we all kind of know which way they're going to go on that. Trick versus, I feel like we kind of know. Oba versus Brock, yeah, I would love to see it, but it could be a 3-minute squash match, and then I wasted, you know, my preference on the night, and then you have 45 minutes of the ladder match, which is great, but sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming.
Gino, quit putting that out in the universe about that of the 3-minute squash. You're putting it out there.
But if Oba squashes Brock, like Brock comes out, he's pissed, he's livid. He wants to get his hands on Oba and runs right at him and hits him with an F5 to start. And then Oba kicks out and Brock's like, and then Oba gets up and destroys him.
They had Goldberg They had Goldberg squash Brock, remember one time?
Are you talking about when Stone Cold was a special guest referee?
No,
this was it in his last run.
Slam 2017.
It was during right after the pandemic, was it? they had a match after the pandemic too. Or during that era.
And then they used that to build up Goldberg, and hopefully I'm a Cena guy at the end of the day. Brock Lesnar, you can eat these L's because of what you did to my boy, and that needs to be passed on. Gunther should be more highly thought of after what he did to Cena. Brock still holds that cachet, even when he's getting beaten on. So, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's wrong. Both nights are going to be fantastic. And fortunately, we don't have to make this difficult decision unless we have some, alternative plans. But I don't know about you, but I found the WWE Premium Live Event iCal for iPhone calendar. So my calendar that I share with my girlfriend has all the WWE events on it, and we are not allowed to conflict with those pay-per-view premium live events. So I have nowhere else to be in the world other than right in front of the TV, hopefully next to some of you gentlemen at the watch party. Details will come outside the stream. Not going to dox anybody, but I want to know what you guys think. Our viewers here, leave a comment. If you could only watch one night, which one is it going to be and why? Any final thoughts from our esteemed panel here?
I have a question, and I guess maybe this is to everybody.
Sure.
Regarding the ladder match. Has anybody thought about Rey Mysterio potentially winning the ladder match to then have his retirement to Dom and lose the belt back to Dom?
I mean, I don't see why not, other than, I mean, yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. If you're going to take the belt off title off of Penta, the way you do it is in him not like getting pinned or made to submit. So that would make sense. But hopefully Rey isn't retiring anytime soon. Dave.
I kind of think it's a good idea, but I honestly think they gotta get Dominic built up back. They started to have him getting face reactions, and he hasn't been. So I kind of think that's going to build up to possibly I would think that's a WrestleMania moment next year, and I possibly and
so
not
Rey Mysterio
this
would
quick.
hold the title for an entire year. I think
No, I don't think Rey's winning. No,
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
I don't think Rey's winning, Gino. I
Okay.
think this is going to pull to where it's going to draw Dominic to get the face reaction, because I think what's going to happen, and we've talked about it in No DQ before, I think it's personally going to be WrestleMania next year, because I think at that point it's ready for Dom to turn face, and I think at the end of the match he buries the hatchet with his dad, and that's how it ends. I think that's where it's going to be. This is going to be for a good moment there time. And usually WrestleMania has good moments like that. And I think that's where Rey retires and Dominic becomes the huge face, because he's going to end up being getting mega pops like he was. So
Yeah.
You just have to hope that Rey stays healthy.
Yeah.
For a whole year.
Well, I will say this.
I think he wrestles less now.
Cells. Yeah, he does wrestle less, and he's big on stem cell treatment, which is why he's still able to move like he did in SmackDown 2002. But imagine, like, again, the whole match wouldn't be as big as after Dominic wins, Rey's looking defeated, and Dominic looks at him and just gives him the biggest hug and raises his hand and does the point at him. The crowd would go nuts in support of that. Like, I mean, the fans have been trying to cheer Dominic for forever. And honestly, I think him and Liv and them people are going to be fast-tracked for being cheered sooner rather than later, maybe as soon as SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think Liv's going to get that same kind of reaction, too, because I think when Liv finally, she's done such great work as a heel, and I mentioned it on the review Tuesday, that when she turns, it's going to be a huge pop, because Liv is one of the hardest workers I've seen, and she's grown over the years. I mentioned it also about from the Riot the Riot Squad days where she was Ruby Riot's lackey and the crazy girl. I think she's going to get the hugest pop when she comes around to face again.
And forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I think C-Rod always pops when Liv turns. With that said,
bang, bang.
bang bang. With that said, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody watching along, everybody in the comment section, we will respond to every single comment. I'm gonna throw it around here. Mathew, did you have something you wanted to add before we do the plugs?
Well, yeah, I was gonna, because you wanted to get everybody's opinion on the Ray thing, but I don't think Ray's winning. I think it would be bigger if Ray finally won the one title he's never won. He wins the AAA title from Dom, carries it for a while, and then eventually they do at Mania Dom versus Ray, AAA title, mask versus career, and that's where Dom turns babyface and gets the AAA title back.
I like that.
And it would get even more eyes on AAA, and I mean, which Undertaker has been doing phenomenal booking work with right now, and it would give Ray the one title he's never won that I think would mean more to him than any other title he's ever won.
I like that. There are a lot of possibilities. The most important thing here is that Ray's career is not Gunther's to retire, and I will stand on business, as the kids say, about that. So, Mathew, and everybody, thank you so much. And Mathew, where can the people find you if they want to hear more?
I mean, I'm on Facebook, just find my name. I'm usually upsetting people with my comments on nodq.com. Apparently I got threatened to get sent to the Shadow Realm this weekend, but because I asked an honest question about the whole, apparently AEW is doing Forbidden Door again, counter programming Slammiversary. I'm like, okay, so I guess counter programming isn't a problem now, is it? Because, if AEW is going to do it to TNA, WWE can do it to AEW. But people seem to not like that comment.
Now, to me, it sounds like if AEW is willing to try and counter program TNA, they're basically saying that, like, we are more competitors with TNA than with WWE. So it's almost like them punching down in a way, because, like, realistically, you either buy the AMC Plus thing or you watch the clips on whatever. But yeah, I mean, people have a right to be upset however they want, especially AEW diehard fans, because they will stand on their business. Unfortunately, I think it speaks to what I said. AEW counter programming a second, or you could argue third tier wrestling promotion, speaks more about what AEW thinks of themselves more than anything else. So thank you so much for that, Matt. Yeah, go check him out on nodq.com's comment section. And shout out to nodq.com and nodq Aaron Rift for bringing most of us together here. Dave, another member of the Four Horsemen of the NoDQ Florida chapter. Where can the people find you?
I'm on Facebook like Mathew. I'm replying or liking his comments because I think me and him most of the time think alike about what's going on in the world of wrestling. So, and shout out to No DQ and for getting us all together and bringing us to other forums and giving Gino this chance to have a good channel start and get some good discussion going. I just gotta thank you guys. I appreciate you and looking forward to next month and meeting in person as I've said, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to have an awesome time.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for the information about where you can join me at the watch party. And thank you so much for joining. And last but certainly least, we have C-Rod here. Just kidding. C-Rod's my boy. I've known him for a long time.
Like the third time you've picked me for last today. I get it.
Well, you either save the best for last, or I hope everybody's tuned out by now so that they don't have to hear what you have to say. But either way, C-Rod does amazing work. Guys, his @ is right here, and everybody's @ will be in the description. C-Rod, where can the people find you?
Yeah, so at Crod's Pod is the You Good podcast on TikTok, on Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. We talk mental health. It is not a wrestling podcast. It is all forms and walks of life, and just it's a mental health, a way to put a positive note out there. And the other positive thing I want to say is, since that's the theme of today, is positivity. Everybody's talking about no DQ, but I just want to say, I don't know no DQ, but I do know Major Push Wrestling, and just thank you to Gino for inviting me into this world, into this realm, into this networking. It's been awesome to meet these guys and everybody else that's in our group chat now. But I second that. I can't wait for Backlash in Tampa here in a few weeks, and to meet everybody that I haven't met in person, and to see all you guys again. So just thank you to Major Push Wrestling. I appreciate you all and letting me talk about wrestling, even though I'm just getting back into it and I feel like the rookie here, but it's been a lot of fun to be here.
Thank you so much, C-Rod, and to everybody for joining me. As always, you can find me here on YouTube, right where you're watching. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell icon, hit the like button. It means a lot. And if you're feeling dangerous, feel free to share this with another wrestling fan. Appreciate it. Now, my channel is more than just wrestling, so that's why I also have another YouTube channel where it's just the Major Push Wrestling Talk Show. I also do live streaming of Rocket League, which will be happening. I usually do that every Wednesday night, and I do some shorts. I do some mobile games. I do some movie reviews, those types of things. But the main thing I'm doing is live streaming Rocket League and talking Major Push Wrestling. And of course, every Monday after a major pay-per-view or premium live event, you can catch Noah and I breaking down the predictions. And we're going to have a big, girthy episode for you this Monday. We'll have 2 nights of WrestleMania. C-Rod, don't smirk. You're immature. I'm just kidding. That was the point. We're having fun, guys. Either way, whether you like something, whether you dislike something to do with wrestling, that's the beauty of being a wrestling fan. There's so much for you as a fan to dig your teeth into, to enjoy. And again, one of the best things about being a wrestling fan is that you're allowed to boo things. Where else can we do that at, right? So stay tuned for more. Again, shout out to Mathew, Dave, C-Rod. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it. Again, guys, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And yeah, we will be releasing new episodes of Major Push Wrestling every single Thursday until we can get this thing live, which I am working on. I have my ChatGPT how to fix the StreamYard link already open, so I'm going to be working on that in the meantime. But as always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.